Morning, everybody. 8:30 a.m. Welcome to my channel. Now we just had a bunch of news drop. Let's just look at that real quick. Had a little bit of a later start today, so I'm gonna bring up that news. Let's see what that core PCE came in. Might have been nothing burger. Let's see here. Let's see. We want PCE headline. Expected 2.5. Got 2.6, so a point 1 raise. And we got core PCE. I want the core PCE year over year. Let's go to that. Let's go core PCE year over year. Okay, that went up 0.1. Expected 2.7. So core PCE actually went up a little bit. All right. So right now the market's not really responding too much about that. I didn't think there would be too much impact on that. All right. So yesterday I was in the lab yesterday, basically trying to make a new super dom custom with the help of AI. Doing a lot of coding yesterday, almost there, replicating something I tried a trial on. Very close. It's amazing to me that NinjaTrader doesn't have a super dom with like delta and a certain other attributes that I like to look at. It's just very basic, and it's, now that I'm using AI to code and stuff like that, like, I'm not saying it's super easy, but you can do it. So it's weird that they don't offer just these things that are it's math. So, but now I have almost what I want, almost what I want in the DOM. So I spent most of the day working on that. The only trade I almost pulled the trigger on yesterday was around 64.06 in the ES. That was the most traded price of the week. That held in early in the session. I was close, but I just didn't like how the overall market was moving. I was so close, and there was actually like an order flow trap there. Um, Let me see if I can show you that really quickly, where that order flow. I don't know if it might have been. Let's see, it's early in the session, so hold on a second. I'll just show it to you really quickly because it was very apparent sellers were getting trapped. Now these deltas are different at price now because what you call it. Well, I could show you this. Let's just show you real quickly on the footprint. So right here, I'm going to try and show you this. Look at all this negative delta, right? That's aggressive selling, right? That's sellers hitting the bid, right? Now these are 5-minute range bars. Look at the time spent there. You went from 11:17, right, all the way to, let's see, that's 11:30. That's about 14 minutes spent here. And you can see the sellers that were hitting the bid here. The red. Now this was more apparent. You can see the delta price right here, but this was more apparent when the actual happened. I'm like, man, if these get taken out, if these sellers get taken out, right here they did, right? You can see the buying delta lifting the offers here came in, and that was a rocket move up. That's the only trade I saw that I was like, if these sellers get put underwater, we can really start to move. And also the VPOC you could see was right here at the time, so I don't like trading at VPOCs. That's one of the reasons I was like, I don't really like doing that. But it was a day where you knew buyers and sellers were going to engage. So, showing you that. All right. Now, what do we have going on? We had FOMC, nothing burger, right? Yeah, we sold off, but then we recovered. And then Microsoft and Meta blew it out the park. Blew it out the park. I own both of those, and happy I do. So I wish I added more, especially with Meta. I have Meta like 484. Meta's at 774 right now. $300 almost where I entered. Microsoft, I think I have at like 380 something. It's at 557 right now. Blew it out the water. and we'll get into expected moves in a little bit. So things are just moving, right? This market's nuts. You have Apple and Amazon today reporting after the close. Okay, so it's crazy. Now you know, you can look into the economy, which is actually getting weaker, but that doesn't really matter. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Actually, contracting, but that doesn't matter, right? It's all about earnings. It's all about momentum, and what's really happening is the AI revolution, right? It's the AI revolution is what's happening. And it's almost like some people are equating it to when the internet start coming out. And the big difference is when you talk about the dot-com crash, right? Opposed to now is the dot-com crash had a bunch of companies that were not profitable, and they went up to the moon and crashed. The stuff that's pushing our markets now are profitable companies. And AI is like a new revolution, right? You can see it already, what it's doing. You deal with AI agents, you deal with AI already, right? I'm myself, I've created indicators using AI, using Python. Now I'm using NinjaScript. And don't get me wrong, I was a little familiar, a little. And my job that I had, I was like a technical operations manager. So I'm not foreign to it. I used to work with developers. So now it's great because now it's like I have a developer in AI and I can just bounce ideas off, know where we hit. Like if we hit a roadblock in my script, I'll be like, no, 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 no. This is, I'll actually tell them sometimes AI, you're looking at it wrong. Let's try this. And then boom, we move forward. And then boom, my script comes out. Like the expected move indicator, I do gamma level. Have a script for gamma levels. I have many scripts I run now. Automate my screenshots, a lot of stuff I've done with AI, and that's like in the infancy. I mean, I still have to work and do test and test and test and test and test, right? But eventually, one day, I mean, robots are gonna. I mean, that's what whole thing with Tesla. It's crazy. We're gonna have robo taxis. This is what I'm trying to say. I think people are getting ahead with Nvidia, AMD, and these really innovative things down the road, right? And what do you need to power these data centers? You need power. So that's why like Oklo, G Vernova, like stuff, the power to stuff is moving as well. I'm also holding GEV as well, and that's a monster. You look at a chart of GEV, all right? So I know I went into a little diatribe there. I'm just trying to make everybody understand what's moving these markets regardless of what's going on, right? Tariffs, so what? Ukraine, so what? Israel and Hamas, so what? It's crazy, right? So with that being said, all right, I just want to get into stuff. Of course, subscribe, set an alert to my channel. All right, I'm gonna give you the lowdown of what the market's doing, right? News, economic calendar, technical analysis, long and short trade scenarios, okay? And of course, be appreciated if you join my Discord. I'm trying to start a community here. Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, sign up, and like I said, use me as your indicator. Yesterday, I say FOMC, I don't have an edge. The first hour, I might look at a trade, but then I spent the day in the lab, like I said, working on the DOM. It's just, there's no edge in an FOMC day. For me, okay? I'm not speaking for anybody else. All right? Not speaking for anybody else. So come join me. All right? Now, let's move on. Futures watch list. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right? Now, Ethereum leading the pack. NASDAQ up 1.39. Bitcoin up 1.36. ES up almost 1%. 30-year bonds being bought should send yields lower. Gold up to 0.29. Dow is up 0.26. The dollar is flat. Russell down 0.38. That's interesting, right? Let's see, crude down 0.51. The 10-year yield down 0.80. Silver down 2.69. VIX down almost 3%. We're at a 15 VIX. All right, we're at a 15 VIX. Moving on to the Max 7 Plus here. Now we know Meta killed earnings, up 11.48%. That's huge for a stock that closed at $695 a share. Okay, monster. Microsoft up 9.16. They reported earnings. All right. Amazon's up 3.07, and they haven't even reported earnings yet. They report after close. Coinbase up 2.57. Nvidia up 2.29 at 183. Okay. AMD continues to defy the odds of the expected move and is up to 183. That's interesting. Both of those stocks are the same price now. Okay. Broadcom up 0.69. Then you got some laggards here. You got Google down 0.25, JP Morgan down 0.31, Berkshire Hathaway down 0.59, and then that laggard is Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly. Now it looks like they had a dividend. So when usually you get a dividend, whatever the dividend is, you knock that out of the price. Let's see, dividend on 8.15. Oh, dividends on 8.15, so that doesn't matter. Now, like I said before, Eli Lilly is defying logic as well. Not logic, probabilities, and it's below its expected move for downside. This is due to pharma, tariffs, Trump wanting to make America not pay the same prices, but not pay the same prices as Europe. Okay, that's not good for pharma. All right, as far as I know, that would be why Eli Lilly's getting her. I know Novo Nordisk didn't have a great. That's falling as well. That's probably has something to do with the weight loss drug. All right, now moving on. Look, we're going to go to. We're going to go to top sectors. Let's just see what's moving here. Snowflake up 3.73%. And Qualcomm and United Healthcare rounding out the laggards. United Healthcare just continues to get beat down to $260 a share. That was up to $600 and something a share not too long ago. Qualcomm down. They reported earnings, I believe. I'm an owner of that too. I'm not happy about that. Down 4.69. All right, granular list. Moving on to the granulars. Roblox, I believe they reported earnings up 18.06%. Carvana, I believe they reported earnings up 18.05%. TMDX, that's killing me. I think that's killing me. I think that's Transmedics, and I own that. I think at $70 a share. And I was like, you know what? I shedded some capital, and there you go. You can't always be perfect, right? But that is hard to see. Norwegian Cruise Lines reported earnings up 13.29%, and CoreWeave got an upgrade. Upgrade, and they are up 12%. That stock has pulled back. eBay, I believe reported earnings are up 11.59%. Reddit up 9.8%. All right. Hess is continuing. I don't know what's going on. Hess is just like, now, is that wrong? Maybe this has got to be wrong. Something's wrong with Hess. It's stuck at that percent. I keep saying it's a monster, but now, all right, moving on. Who's down? Paramount Global down 10.9%. Shake Shack down 10.12. Interesting. Baxter down 8.02. ARM down 7.67. Lam Research. So these are two semis. ARM and Lam Research. Applied Materials down. So some semis are down. ASML, semi. Datadog, cybersecurity. All right, moving on. Sectors. The bread and butter here. What are we looking at? Communications leading the pack. That's your Meta. Okay. Technology up 1.547. Okay. That's your Nvidia, your AMD, your Microsoft. Then you got your discretionary. That's your Amazon, your Tesla, 0.45. Who's lagging today? Financials, down 0.51. Staples, down 0.58. Energy, down 0.86. Basic materials, okay, is the laggard today. Basic materials. All right. That rounds out our sectors. Now we can get into economic calendar, which we already looked at. Core PCEs came in. We got Chicago PMI 945, so I'm not going to be doing anything until after that. Okay. Just amazing the data this week. FOMC, core PCE, non-farm payrolls tomorrow. Right? Now we'll go to the earnings calendar. Earnings calendar. Here we are. What did we have report this morning? CVS, Roblox, AbbVie, Norwegian Cruise Lines, Cigna, MasterCard, Bristol-Myers Squibb. After the close today, Monster, Apple, Amazon, Coinbase, Reddit, Riot, Cloudflare, Roku. Before the open tomorrow, ExxonMobil, Chevron, Regeneron. Okay, T. Rowe Price, and that. On Colgate Palmolive, that's a staple. Dominion Energy. Okay, that's earnings. Now, go to some news. Here we go. Microsoft stock rose 8.2 after the software giant reported an impressive performance from its important cloud computing division known as Azure. Now, the only thing I can think is Snowflake and sympathy with cloud is moving with Microsoft. Okay, Meta platform stock 11%. Stock soared 11% after strength in Facebook owners' crucial advertising business. Nvidia stock rose 2.2 despite China raising concerns over potential security risks in the chip maker's H20 artificial chip. Comcast stock rose 3.8 after mass media giant reported strong and expected earnings. Qualcomm stock fell 7.1 as the looming loss of Apple as the chip maker's biggest modem customer outweighed its upbeat quarterly forecast. Norwegian Cruise Line stock rose 6.6 after the cruise operator reported second quarter revenue and reaffirmed full year guidance. Ford stock fell 0.6 after the auto giant lowered its full year earnings. CVS Health stock surged 7.6 after the health insurer, what is this? I used to own this thing. Raised its annual profit forecast. Let's see what else. ARM Holdings ADRs fell 6.5 as the chip tech provider plans to invest in its own chip development, which would bite into future profits. All right. Let's see. Does Juice have anything for us? China pauses U.S. bound company investment in trade war. That just came out. Let's see. Today we got that news. White House press briefing at 1 o'clock. All right. I'm not literally looking forward to. Hope I'm not in a trade at that moment. All right. Moving on to news. That says Trump says U.S. will set 50% tariff on South Korean imports under new deal. China flags concerns over potential security risks. Talked about that. Big tech maybe breaking the bank for AI. All right. No mention of robotaxi as Tesla launches ride hailing in San Francisco. Meta Platforms, Piper Sandler raises target price to 880 from 808. Microsoft Barclay raises target price to 625 from 550. Okay. Upgrades. Let's check out upgrades today. Upgrades. We're looking at CoreWeave upgrade, eBay upgrade, Microsoft upgrade. All right. Downgrades. Let's look at those together. Downgrades. Lam Research. That's really it. All right, we can move on. Let's move on to daily charts. All right, let's move on to the daily charts. Oop. All right, let's look at dailies. All right, let's look at this together. This is crazy, right? So, here's SPY. Here's SPY. And yesterday, there's not much to talk about, really, right? We dropped down, we came down here. We basically closed. This Friday's closed, right? So it was like, okay, we closed here. Well, that didn't really much matter because Microsoft and Meta. We're at 640.35 right now. 640.35. So we're way away from the expected move to the upside. That's 649. Okay. Probably baked in from all this data, right, this week. Now, we are 640.41, right? Let's zoom in here. 640. All-time highs right now. Unbelievable. Okay, unbelievable. At all-time highs. Let's look at futures just to see a better view of it. All-time high. Right there. Finally made. Well, that's not true. This was the all-time high made in an overnight session. I said those are usually not secure, right? We made a new all-time high in futures, but still not during real-time trading hours. However, you can see, look where we held support last week's highs. Okay, Qs. Let's look at Qs together. Qs had a doji kind of day, right? Kind of held last week's highs, and again up to 575. Now check this out. 579 is the expected move for this week. 575. We are almost at 576. We're like right here. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What can you say about that, right? NQ futures, let's look at those. Look at that. Boom. Way up here. All-time highs. This market is nuts. It is nuts. And we're still in July. Actually, let's talk about that. It's the last day of the month. It's the last day of the month for July. There might be some window dressing today at the end of the session. Okay? End of the session. It's not a quarterly, it's a monthly. But portfolios, money managers like to have those good numbers for the end of the month for their clients to have the statements. So they call it window dressing. Okay. Now, real quick, let's go over the triple-headed monsters. Not much probably to talk about here. That bond market really is not showing us much, right? Even though they're selling, there's a little yield lowering. That means bonds are being bought. See, it's just in that middle range. We're not even going to talk about it. It's pretty much pointless. The dollar, is that climbing? Woo, that dollar. Remember I talked about this. I wish I would have took my own advice here and got long the dollar, right? So the dollar has broken through and held that resistance. So watch the dollar. Generally, that should affect silver and gold. Gold's up though. Silver's down. Okay, this should mean the euro is falling. Okay, now VIX. Let's look at the little VIX here. Remember, the VIX is 30 days out. 30 days out. All right. Here's our VIX. And where are we at? We're at 15. Okay, we're not as low as we were in the 14s. We're at a 15. Maybe because of still got non-farm payrolls tomorrow. Still got non-farm payrolls tomorrow. Now, I normally would go over market internals. No need to do that on FOMC day. It really doesn't give you much insight. I would go over an hourly chart. This hourly chart's not showing much. So we're going to go right into the market profile, volume profile. Okay, I know I'm running later today, so we can skip that. And we're going to go right to that. Not sure who's with me today. Not sure if Chief's here. I know I had a later start. Not sure if Documents is here. I'm not sure. But we're going to get into it. All right, so let's go to ES, okay? Here's our lovely ES. Let me get my lovely marker. Everything's lovely. All right. Now, if I have a little time, maybe I'll go over some expected moves. But for now, we're going to analyze this. Okay, we're going to analyze this. Now, first thing I want to note. That looks very balanced to me. Okay, you have excess to the top with this move. Value area and excess to the bottom. That is balanced. That could mean the auction is over for right now. Right? Looking at a profile like that. Okay. The market really has to stay up there, sustain and create value up there. Okay, to really hold that. Can it do it? Sure. It can do it. Right? You can see the high volume node right here. That price would be, let's say 64.50. Let's just get your price. One trader price at overnight is 64.54. 64.54 right here. Whoa, what was that? That price, right? Let's just say the most trader price of the week right now is 64.28. Right here, it moved. It moved, right? It was 6406 right here. There's a lot of distributions here. You can see high volume node, high volume node, high volume node. That's how the markets move, high volume node, right? So you want to hold this. You want to hold this. Okay, you got thin volume here. And we have a little bit of supply. Remember, what all-time highs right now? All-time highs. The last high was made over here in the overnights, right? If we open here, I think we tag that overnight, make an RTH high, and then decide what we're going to do. Okay. Now, as far as levels today, we know we got gap fill, 64.35. 64.35. That encompasses a demand, overnight lows, the most traded price of the week, the close, last week's highs. That is a monster level. Let's call it 64.31. That is a monster level for the bulls to defend. Remember I said that. Okay? Remember I said that. What else do we have? Let's check the inventory. Inventory for the overnight. It looks like we are about 80% net long. Look, there's the open. That's how much shorts to longs. And we're up here. Okay? Oop. All right. Next level I want to talk about. It's your midpoint of the overnight. And we're going to put this in this box, which encompasses the most traded price of the overnight right there. And then we have this supply here with the all-time highs in the overnight session. Okay? This is where I really want to talk about, really, okay? So we're just going to get right into scenarios here. Let's space this out. Let's get the right look for the profile. Boom. Okay, that's the overnight session, 30-minute bars. Okay, 30-minute bars. So let's look at it together, and we're going to get into scenarios. Let's do it. All right, we're going to start with a bull side, and price is here. Right, we're at the most traded price of the overnight. Okay, so what I could see happening, and it could just be a trend continuation. Let's see if we get this move. Now, look, we kind of were in this balance and broke these 64.40s, basically. There was a lot of highs here. So you broke all of these highs. So now that I'm looking at this, it's kind of an exhaustion gap almost, okay? You're over all these sessions now. So what could I see happening, right? So let's say this. If we are here, right, and we hold the most traded price of the overnight, I can say we can clip the overnight highs. This might be the point we pull back to go higher. Okay. What else can we do? Pull back to the midpoint. Take off. Okay. What's the most easiest easiest pullback is, all right, take out this thin volume here very quickly. Then you come into this area, which I said is the huge level, 64.31. What do we do here? If this thing goes like this, boop, you got to get long and target overnight highs. Okay, now this could do a lot of things here. It might not look that clean. Okay, we can come down, get a bear trap, then hold this level and go long as well. That's the long scenario. That's the only ones I'm interested in. Okay, remember, Apple and my Amazon report today as well. All right. Now, bears. I don't have a lot for you, bears. All right. Now, we're here at the overnight most traded price. What I could see, boom, put the RTH high in, right? Break that overnight high. Come back through. Put some lower highs in. And then we got a break here. right? The midpoint of the overnight, and I think we take it down to that monster level. That could be your trade, right? That's at 64.28, the most traded price of the week. You got a lot of volume here. This is not going to be easy to just cut through. Not going to be easy. That's why I'm saying this could be it. If you do come through here and break this, you might touch the most traded price, rip up, retest, then you might have a shot. If you break that, which is value area low of the week, right? Then you have a shot at taking out yesterday and going to yesterday's lows. I'm not sure that's in the cards. Okay? That's it for there. Let's move on to the NASDAQ. Okay, here's our NASDAQ. Here's our NASDAQ. Okay, let's look at the profile. All right, so in the NASDAQ, you can see we're just consolidating here at the most traded price of the overnights. All right, this demand might even be gone by now. I mean, supply, I'm sorry. All right, you are almost 85 to 90% net long. You're gapping up. So gap fills 23688. 23688. That's your gap fill. Okay. That will encompass overnight lows and the close. Right there. You have a demand zone here. Right here. And I think the supply, let's just check if this supply zone already didn't work out. Yeah. It already got broken. I'm just going to remove that. Okay. Next thing I would just go with is your overnight highs. Okay. Now you do have some single prints at the top of the session yesterday. Okay. This also is an exhaustion gap. You broke all of these sessions highs now. Okay. Very important. All right. You got to think about psychologically. Now, I don't know who in FOMC who would have left the FOMC yesterday short. You're in trouble, right? Probably there's some people out there, right? So what could we expect? Now, the most traded price of the week is around your 235s, right here. Notice how the NASDAQ is so much higher than the ES. It's really far away from the most traded price of the week, the VPOC week. Okay, look at this profile. Boy, oh boy. This 235 has a lot of volume. Look at that sucker. That is not like the ES. Okay, that thing is thin up there. That is something else, boy. Remember, the ES had so many distributions. This thing just really loved this 235, 23490 area. Okay. All right, let's look at scenarios, and I'll get you out of here. It's already 9:03. Okay. All right, so let's do it. All right, so price is here at the overnight VPOC. Okay, at the overnight VPOC. What could happen? So, a couple things. You can make new RTH highs, pull back through that VPOC. I would expect to see some buying in this demand zone. Okay, and this is your gap fill. So it could be literally gap fill, hold, and just melt and go higher today. Make those RTH highs the all-time highs. Okay, and you could also push up and just hold the overnight VPOC and go higher as well. Okay, now you could also fill the gap. You fill the gap here. So now this is your last line in here at the overnight lows. Even if we pull back to those overnight lows, okay, you got thin volume here, single prints from yesterday's highs. If you go into these and find support and get a higher low, I would be comfortable going long as well. Any deeper past this, probably not going to be a fan of a long, right? Even though you have a major level here, think about it. If we drop from all the way there to all the way here, the market's not going to be strong. So that's my longs. Okay. Talk about shorts. Let's talk about those shorts. The shorts, not easy either. Okay. Got to talk about it. Like I said, we can do this, make new RTH highs, come through, make some lower highs. Try to go through this overnight VPOC. If you do, you are going to meet this demand zone and possibly gap fill, and that could be it. That could be it, and then you bounce. Okay? Here's the difference. If you come through, break the overnight lows, 2, 3, 6, 3, 9s. You have thin volume here. And if the market starts turning weak, this could easily go back to value at 2, 3, 4, 9 zeros. And if it went below that, boy, I don't think that's in the cards. It could be. Who knows what Trump says? Who knows? Okay. Now, tomorrow's August 1st. That's supposed to be the deadline as well. So, I'm just hoping he stays quiet because it's annoying as hell when you're in a trade, or I'm going to go and enter a trade. Next thing you know, Trump just posted this, and you're just like, really? Really? So, that's it, folks. That's scenarios today. Okay? Please smash the like button if you enjoyed that technical analysis. Okay? And as always, please join me every day, every morning. Okay? Give you the scoops on the market, the leaders, the laggards, the market news, economic calendar, all that jazz, and a bunch of technical analysis that I just gave you. Okay? Enough. Now, I will show you this. All right? Let's show you. I'll leave you with this. Expected moves. I'll leave you with expected moves. Remember, you got my indicator. Join my Discord. I have it in my Discord. Documents. Documents. All right. Let's go in here to the lab here. Right here. Go into my... Let's go into the Fangman's expected moves. And we're going to go to a daily chart. All right. Now, I already know Meta. Look at Meta. See, Meta had a bad day, right? Check it out. Expected moves 778. Now, let's go to this chart. This is a 30-minute. All right, it shows you overnight activity, pre-market, right? Look at the expected move. Expected move, top of the range was 778.92. Guess where it's failing? At the expected move. And this is what earnings baked in. Pretty cool, right? Microsoft expected move was 546. It is over that by about almost $10. Now, when you get way over that expected move, woo, options market wasn't pricing that in, and you can really go higher. It's when they right around them is when it's a problem, right? So those are the earnings baked in. Amazon has earnings today, so they have their expected move, all right, all the way, where is it? All the way up there. Woo! They have an expected move of up to the upside 250, downside 212. But remember, it didn't report earnings yet. Okay, it didn't report earnings yet. All right. Other notables, Nvidia has been rocketing, and check the expected move out right here. Expected move 182.05. It's right above that. So I'm showing you this right now. I could have did jazz hands for your documents. Now I'm showing you this because this tips my hat a little bit to go. How much more do we got? Now, we do probably have much. We could go more with Apple and Amazon. So that's the thing, right? But I'm just looking at some of these stocks and going, okay, over the expected move, or at it, right? AMD is ripping, okay? Expected move, 177.73. They hit it the other day. Now it's over it. Now, like I said, 70% of the time they close inside expected move. So I'm showing you some stocks that are a little overdone. Okay, little overdone. Now let's look at something like, let's see, Netflix. Netflix is not doing much. Let's go to Eli Lilly, and that's one that's really pushing past the expected move. Whew! Look at that. That was the expected move to the downside. 769. It is getting smoked down to 748 right here. That is something. That pharma, look at that support that broke. Woo. Okay. And just real quick, back to a daily chart. Okay. We're going to just put up SPY one more time. And your SPY, cause this is baked in, right, is 649. We're at 640. Remember, non-farm payrolls are in that. Amazon, Apple earnings are still left to go. So that's why we haven't reached anything to note there. QQQ, we are at 579. We're at 575. We're getting closer in the Qs. 579 is the expected move. Okay? All right. Everybody, have a great day. Remember, no trades to trade. Hope everybody stays green today. And if I don't see you tomorrow, if I don't see you in my Discord, all right, that's a Confluence Trading. If I don't see you in there, which I hope I do, remember, go to YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Now remember, today, end of the month. End of the month. So a lot of times, end of the month, you get the window dressing. So a lot of times I don't like to trade afternoons, but in these cases, sometimes I like towards the end of the session to see if this is an opportunity for the window dressing. We'll have to see end of the month. Now, July is ending. Seasonality wise, 80% of the time it's a bullish month. This is a bullish month, right? August, not so much. September, not so much. Not so much. Okay? Markets usually have a good month in July and tend to not have it so much in August. Think about how it lines up. Earnings are now, right? Earnings are now. Earnings are, I think, 80% in already. Then you go into August where you don't have as much to juice the market. We'll see. Everybody, have a great day. That was pretty abrupt.